Welcome back, you guys. It's Z and my husband, Charles. As always, remember to like and subscribe down below. And so today we want to call this video The Tale of Two Costcos, right? Every Sunday we do our Costco run with our little one in the back. And we have a Costco that is closer to our home. We live out of the suburbs. And then we also like to frequent a Costco that's more, I guess, in the city, so to speak. And although it's a little bit more of a drive, we like the Costco that is more in the city. And so it got us thinking about why we prefer the Costco in the city and thinking about the mentality of suburban individuals and how it differs maybe from those that live in more of a city kind of urban environment. And so I'll let you start off, Charles, kind of what your thought process is of why you like the more city Costco is how I will.
Yeah, so the city Costco is the older Costco. It was the original one in our town, and it's not really so much in the city. It's on the south side of the city, so it's
South
in
side, okay.
It's in a residential area, but an area that's been residential for 30 years. We've noticed that the people there are a lot different than in the Costco than the Costco that's next to our house. When we go to the Costco that's by our house, it seems like there's always something contentious going on in the parking lot. There's cars waiting for spaces, cars that are going to cut other people off before they can pull into the space they've been waiting for.
Someone is always looking to get into a fight. That's how it feels, at least, right?
Yeah, they're and the people in general always seem a little anxious and like they're not exactly happy to be there. Like I'm just here to get this done as quickly as possible, and everybody looks frustrated to one degree or another. The Costco that's a little bit closer to the city, that's in a little bit older area, the people there are a little more laid back. There are people just like they're stopped and talking to each other while they're shopping. We take our little guy with us to Costco. He loves being pushed around in the cart. It's his, we call it his big day because because I push him backwards in the cart and he loves looking at people.
He loves
everybody
watch.
Just loves him.
Yeah.
But when we go to the Costco that's more urban, that's closer to the city, people interact with us. They come up. They say hi. They say hi to our little guy. They start conversations with us. The people are just very friendly.
Yeah, it's a different feeling.
And we don't get that out by where we are.
Yeah, I mean, not that it's bad. The Costco that is closer to our home, the Suburban Costco, is what I'll refer to it as. But it's a different feeling. It feels more warm. And, you know, if you've done a Costco run or a weekly grocery run, it's a task, right? You know, for the ones who are working, you may not want to be working. And if you're shopping, it's not the most exciting thing. So if you have to work and if you have to shop, why not be pleasant? And sorry, you hear a little one who is very talkative this afternoon in the back there. And so it got us thinking about the mentality, you know, how it differs between the two environments, suburban and I don't know what you would call, I guess, urban.
Yeah,
mentality.
so the other Costco's, the Costco we go to that we like is in the south side of the city, and it's an area that first became residential like 30-40 years ago, and the places there are a little bit smaller, they're a little bit closer together.
Is it more diverse there, you would say?
Okay. Definitely more diverse. There are no master planned communities there. It's all, you know, communities from the 80s.
Right.
Back in the 80s, we didn't have master plan communities. We had we had communities, and you were lucky if there was a community pool up at the front that they actually put water in. That's how we rolled back in the 80s. So the
Hi.
That's right. Dad is talking. So these houses that the people are living in are probably a little bit lower price point than out where we are. But it's not just that, because at the Costco we go to, the good Costco, people are rolling up in their Mercedes and their BMWs. People are coming up there. They've obviously got some money. So we can't say, oh, it's just purely a socioeconomic difference. Like people out where we are, are just have more money. We can't say that.
No.
because obviously there's people that are around there that are that are affluent too, and so we're wondering, is there a different type of person that moves out to the suburbs, that wants to go out to a place where there aren't public parks, and where people don't walk down the road to interact with each other? Is it a different type of person who's out there than who is in the older, more developed area?
I think so, right? As far as, let me ask you a specific question. Why did you choose to live in this area where we live at?
Where we live at?
Yeah, which is like a suburb area. What was the draw for you?
So I initially came out to the suburbs with my first wife when when we were having our older kids, or getting ready to have our older kids, and the reason we came out was because that was the area that we thought you were supposed to go to when you started having a family. And that's kind of a narrative that we heard, or how that got around. But I think a lot of people believe that when you grow up and you get married and you want to have a family, then what you do, if you can, is you buy a house in the suburbs and you move out to the suburbs, because that's where the good schools are. That's where all the people with families who want the best for their kids are taking their kids. And I think in a lot of ways that might be a false narrative.
I would agree. And sometimes, well, let me back up. So when I met Charles, right, he already had my 2 bonus babies, and he was living in the suburbs, right? So it just worked out where once we got married, he already was established, in the area that he was living, that I moved to the suburbs. And we subsequently had our youngest one that you hear in the background there. And when we were looking to buy our second home, we actually wanted to move out of the suburbs, right? Just because we were looking for an environment that was more lively, more inclusive, more diverse, all of those things. But there was one major obstacle that it was hard for us to overcome, which was the school system, right? There's some good schools, in the area that we were looking for, but we just could not guarantee that our children could get a proper education, right? Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, and in the suburbs, it seems like every school is a B+.
Correct.
No matter where you go, your school is going to be a B+. When you move towards the city, like I've been here in this city my whole life, and when I was growing up, I got into a program where I ended up in the best public school in the city, which was actually the best school in the nation academically in that year. But the problem with the public school system in the county that has the city that we're around is that it's really a crapshoot Some neighborhood schools are good. Some neighborhood schools are bad.
Yeah.
They have academies. They have charter schools, and so there's the ability in the public school system to end up in a school that is better if you don't like your neighborhood school, but it's not guaranteed. And a lot of the selection is based off of needs and things like that. And unfortunately, Z and I, wouldn't be on the top of the list as far as like needs based.
Yeah.
A lot of people where the couples, both professionals that live in towards the city, are going to send their kids to one of the private schools, and we don't want our kids to be private school.
Yeah,
no.
yeah. And I just couldn't settle on living in a nice neighborhood, and maybe the elementary school is great, but the local or zone middle school is a D school, right?
Right.
So that was, I think, one of the main things why we made the decision to stay in the suburb. In the suburbs, I guess you can say.
You're guaranteed a above mediocre outcome.
Correct. And so we are, I think, very intentional, which I love, that we seek experiences, right, for our children and for ourselves too.
A good thing to do in the suburbs is get the heck out of them on a regular basis.
Yes, right. See the world around you, right? So that means, driving an extra, I don't know, was it 20 minutes or so, going to the city Costco. So we have a great experience so that our little one can be exposed to individuals from all walks of life. That means going to our, flea markets, right? Or different markets, ethnic markets, things like that. And I'm really glad that we're cultivating we're cultivating the experiences we want our children to have, right? Rather than allowing our environment or the burbs, so to speak, to shape the way that our children think, right?
I wouldn't want our kids' experiences to be limited to the experiences they're going to have around our house.
Correct. I want them to be exposed to people from all walks of life, from different socioeconomic classes, different religions, and that is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking or seeking out for my children. I feel like I had that as a child. I was privileged to have that. And I think I'm pretty okay, So that was really important. But yes, that was our little conversation this afternoon as we were driving back from Costco.
So let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. Is there a difference between the mindset of the person who seeks out the suburbs and the mindset of the person who wants to live in a more urban, in a more developed area? Because we certainly notice the difference using the Costco in the two places as our barometer, and that's why we go seek out the Costco that's in the more developed, more urban area, because we enjoy our experience and we enjoy the people there so much more. Yeah,
I'm curious to hear from individuals from all over the world kind of what your experience has been. Anyway, remember, like and subscribe down below. We'll talk to you guys later.